That's funny. Let me post up this link real quick. Sorry guys, I'm just got a funny message. See over here. Let me get this through real quick, guys. Let me post this up right there, there. So I got that right here. Let me post up this link for Sam over here. All right, let me get this thing started. It's linked up right here. I'm just waiting for Sam to show up real quick. We're gonna have a session right now. Our US 30 position is looking all right. It's I mean, it didn't look good for a while because of the whole impeachment thing going on. But yeah, it looks like the House first president to be impeached twice. I mean, I guess we'll see what happens from here. Let me see if Sam has made it into the room yet. Doesn't look like it yet. All right, let me get a second before we get this going right here. See if Sam shows up. Oh man, okay. Let's see. Let me check my calendar. All right, cool. So I'm just waiting for Sam to show up, guys. If you guys want to sit in on this session, we're gonna have one-on-one right now, and basically see how this plays out. Let me see if there's anything else here to look at. Let's see, we're in the spread right now, so nothing necessarily. Any bros, how's it going, bro? I'm just waiting for Sam to enter the room. We're having a one-on-one session today, so I'm not really going to be able to answer any questions, but if you guys want to sit in on it, you guys are more than welcome. Breaking news. Oh, okay. There's a new COVID vaccine that's coming out, it looks like. Some breaking news right here. J&J, Johnson & Johnson. So Johnson & Johnson is part of, I think they're within the US 30. So, I mean, that might have an effect on the market, but not exactly sure how it'll affect it. But yeah, let me see if Sam's on his way. Okay, so I think Sam is still making his way into the room. Meanwhile, I'm just gonna go down these pairs real quick, see if there's anything that we might have missed on. Wow, so I should have took that Euro CAD trade. Look, that would have been full TP of 40 pips. Euro CHF possibly. EG, it's coming down. J, EN, U, GU, GC. There, DDCAD, NZDJPY, USD CAD, USD CHF, UJ. Yeah, I think that's about it. There's not really much to look at right here. So I think Sam's on his way to the room right now. Just went online. All right, let's see. Yeah, US 30 is frozen right now. Guys, the indices market is currently closed. So nothing for us to really look at this moment. give it a few more minutes. I think he should be showing up soon. I see him online. Let's see if there's any other news here. Trump's impeachment. Trump's impeached by Barton. It's the same one that I already have. See if there's anything new here. Pelosi calls for Trump to clear and presentation to the nation. Thanks troops protecting Congress. Looks like Sam's still on his way, guys. So if you guys are here to sit in on the session, I'm just waiting for Sam to show up so we can get started. And then we'll figure out what we're going to do from there. All right, let me see what Sam's got to say. Sam's typing right now. All right, cool. Sam is on his way. He's just downloading Zoom right now, so we can hop onto this. And then we'll go forward with this. So let's see if there's anything else to look at while we're waiting. The market is in the swap spread right now. So the market's closed for all markets right now at 2 o'clock. So there isn't really much to look at this point. You're not really going to see much movement at all from now until then. Oh, sorry, guys. Let me. Kai, come here. Kai. All right, I'm still waiting for Sam here. Let's see if he shows up. All these little back things here. I'll wait for Sam. I'm in this chair all day. All right, let's see. Sam said be with you in a minute. Zoom taking long. All right, you're all set, sir. All right, thanks. Appreciate it. I'll chill here for a bit, buddy. While we wait for, oh, there you go. I think Sam's in the room now. Let me see if he's over there. There you go. Hey, Sam, could you hear me? Just checking out the mics, make sure everything's good.
Hello?
Hey, Sam, could you hear me?
Yeah, perfectly.
Perfect. How's it going?
Not bad, not bad. Yourself?
Not too bad. Just hanging on to this US 30 trade, hoping it
Nice.
comes back down.
Yeah, I was watching the what do you call it? The debate to
Oh, were you
impeach.
watching? Yeah.
Yeah, I'll see what's gonna happen.
Yeah, I was doing the same thing. It looks like the House finally voted on it, but I think now it has to move to the Senate, where they will, they'll make the last decision whether he gets impeached or not.
Yeah.
So hopefully we'll see how that goes. I still have my US 30 open, so market's closed right now, but it should be opening it back up in about like maybe 2 hours from now.
Right, I got you.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, cool. So what did you want to cover today?
A couple of things actually. First of all, mainly a bit of the pivot strategy.
Okay, cool.
So I've really taken a liking to the pivot strategy actually, especially on the indecencies. Hold on 1 second. I have some of my questions that I put down here.
So for the pivot strategy, have you been using that mostly for indices, or have you been using that for like Forex as well?
No, just indices at the moment. For Forex, I've been obviously I haven't really been trading it myself, but obviously taking your calls with the SR strategy. But when I have free time, I have been getting on the intraday trading of the Forex pairs, which seems pretty good actually. I mean, like I said, I haven't traded them anything with any real capital yet, as I'm still practicing with it. And I don't have time all day. I just off this week, so I've been doing even more. Just been on the charts pretty much this whole time I've been off. So I think where is it? Yeah, okay. First one on the pivot strategy. You wouldn't take an invalid signal, would you? Even though all the requirements are met.
Yeah, I personally wouldn't. I mean, you can. There's ways to do it. I don't know if you started to listen to like the new what's it called, the new edition that I started using for the US 30 strategy. I
Yeah.
don't have you seen it where I've discussed it in the chats before?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I caught up on your webinar
awesome. Yeah,
on
perfect.
that.
So
Yeah.
definitely, if that's the case, then yeah, you can actually use it. So like for example here, you can see that obviously this is a pivot entry right here.
Mhm.
So this is a pivot entry. And if you're using the new requirement that I just discussed, where price has to cross above the previous signal, like for example, right here, there's a sell signal. If this buy crosses above it, you can always put a buy signal, at the high of that candle. So once it does swing up, so it's still below here, but as soon as it swings up, it will fill your order and then likely go to full TP like that right there. So that's one way to do it if you do apply it that way. Um, but I mean, like I mentioned, it's still a work in progress. It's not something that I myself I haven't been applying it myself just yet. So I don't know how accurate it is yet, but if you do, like, if you feel like you need to, want to enter a trade, then you can also apply it this way. I'm not sure. Have you noticed that when you started trading it?
I I haven't actually. I only did 1 month of back testing on the UK 100 with that strategy, just to see that there wasn't that much entries once applying that new system that you've just developed here. And also I found that, well, it did, like I said, this is just for the month of December. So
Mhm.
I found that even though they didn't line up to the strategy that you're showing now,
Mhm.
they still hit TP. So I've got, like, for instance, there was this is trading from the London session to, like, I would say the late New York session. Looks at about 21 trades taken, about 16 won and 5 lost, which is pretty good.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. However, there were 10 wins without that strategy and 6 wins with the strategy and only 1 loss with that strategy.
Gotcha. Okay.
So, yeah, I mean, it's pretty good, but I see that if you were to only go with that strategy, like I said, for the month of December, it seems as though you probably would only had 6 entries.
hmm Yeah. So I think for that strategy, it might not be like required, but I think it will be like a better confirmation. So if it does, satisfy the original strategy, plus on top of that, the new strategy, then it's like almost guaranteed that it's going to win, right? So
Mhm.
that's why for that, I'm probably not going to make it a requirement, but I'm probably going to make it like another addition to increase your probability of winning. Because then you have all these extras that you kind of incorporate. The problem with incorporating new additions to a strategy is if you incorporate too many new things, then you'll miss out on a lot of good trades. So I try to keep it
Right.
like as simple as possible.
Got you. Okay. Yeah.
So which
Um,
pair do you usually trade the pivots on? Do you usually do what US 30?
US 30 and the UK 100, mainly because obviously it's perfect for my time.
Mm-hmm.
And if I can go with you through trades that I took, but like I said, I've only been back testing last month. Let me bring it up here. Right, yeah. I just want to make sure that I am doing the strategy correctly, and just check out some of the losses that I found on last month on the US 30.
Oh yeah,
So I found, like I said, between a London and a late New York session, a possible of 27 trades. I found 10 losses, 15 wins, and one possible break even if I was following the strategy, the exit strategy. So let's say, for instance, one of the losses, if I bring it up here, was 30th of December.
30th of December. Okay, delete this
30th of December, about 6 p.m. my time.
Let's see, 6 p.m. your time. So that would be
10 a.m. your time.
10 a.m. Okay, let me see.
Yeah.
Oh, this one right here. Okay, got it. So this one right here is the one that you took, and it looks like a reverse line you right here.
Yeah.
So this looks like it would have qualified for the new requirement as well. Oh, was this New Year's Eve? Let me check the calendar real quick. I
The
don't
day
think so.
before.
Yeah, let me see this over here. It was the day before New Year's Eve, right?
Mm.
I feel like
I was
something.
thinking maybe that was possibly one of the reasons.
Yeah, usually like during that specific week, like Christmas week and New Year's week, I'm sure you've noticed like even for the US 30, I wasn't even really trading during that time because the market moves kind of irregular. I think for this right here, let me see if we could find if there was any zones nearby. So it looks like there's a zone right here. It's not very close, but I mean, it's a little close. So I don't think this would have been enough to prevent me from entering, but let me see how far was it from there. Usually I like there to be at least, oh yeah, so it looks kind of too close because it's only about 100 and I guess 170 pips. Generally, that's like enough to cover the spread. Usually if I'm going to enter a trade, I like there to be at least like maybe a 500 pip gap from it. So
Okay.
from here, like maybe if we had this much space up to here and the zone was actually above here, then I probably would have taken it. The only problem with this is that it's just a little close. But then again, we wouldn't really know what caused this move. I'm gonna check the calendar here to see if there was anything on that day. I don't think there was. It was just a normal holiday week. Yeah, there's nothing that entire week. Um, so I'm not sure necessarily what could have affected it. It could have just been bad luck. Sometimes that
Yeah,
happens
yeah,
where
yeah.
it just there's nothing that we could have done to prevent it. The only thing I can think of that would have prevented this was to identify the structure here. But then again, sometimes if, like I mentioned before, if you had too many requirements, you might miss out on a good trade, of course.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
so if we go forward here, let me see. Yeah, it looks like it did a full-on reversal from this point.
Yeah.
Let's see, this was 10 o'clock too. See, the problem with this too, so this is what I think happened. I think because the market was closed on the 31st, what happens on the day before a holiday is people usually sell off their positions
Right.
because they don't want to have active positions during, the long holiday. And I think the New Year's was like on a weekend or it was on a Friday. So it was technically like 5 days off. So I think what happened here was when market opened here on the 30th, because obviously the market opened right here at 6:30, you can see that price slightly pushed up. And then you can see midway through the market around 8 a.m. This is when the sell-off happened right here. So it seems like a lot
See.
of people would have just, got rid of their positions and then stayed out of the market until it reopened on, in January, obviously. So if you look here, because it looks like that's what happened here. It looks like what happened here was it hit 8 a.m. and then people like on the New York side, they sold off their positions. And then from there, it just consolidated up until New Year's, basically.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Right,
see,
okay.
that's what it looks like. So it was just probably a case of bad luck because I'm sure you didn't realize that, the market was gonna, well, normally, if you just look at psychology of people, like me personally, if I had like a lot of stocks in, the US 30 and we're going to the new year, I personally would probably sell it off just
Yeah.
to be outside of the market. So that's just the way that I see it. Um, but it looks like that's kind of what happened here. So you can see it just, everyone, like at this point, people sold off the first wave here. And then as we got closer to market close, they sold off some more. And then they just keep selling off until New Year's Day or the day after New Year's. And then you can see right here on the New Year's when markets started to reopen again, it started to come back up, right?
Come back up, yeah, yeah.
So I think me personally, just from my experience trading, I think that's what happened before the New Year's. People just sold off their positions, and then they were just be safe at this point. They just wanted to hold off, and then at this point, people bought the dip because they saw that people were selling off, and then they bought when the price dipped down here, and then they rode it up to here again.
I see.
So yeah, like from my perspective, that's kind of what I see happening here because that's what it seems like happened, right? Looks like people sold off, then people waited for the dip, and it dipped, and then people bought it, and then it just became widespread. Here, everyone just kept buying on New Year's Day right here, or the market reopened here on the 3rd, and then just kept pushing up higher and higher.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, and then right here, of course, people sold off because it I forgot what happened here. I think something happened on the 4th, but something happened that pushed price down very heavily.
Right.
But
Uh,
it's just like the psychology of trading, basically, of how people think.
okay, so but other than that, I mean, my entry and the way I did the strategy was all right. Everything was right
Yeah,
in that particular trade. So it
definitely.
wasn't nothing on my part there really.
Yeah, no, it looks like a pretty solid trade. It just looks like it was, a case of bad luck for the most part. If I
Yeah,
zoom out from here, it looks like everything lined up perfectly. So because the zones are not, they're not a requirement. Of course, it's just going to be an addition to your strategy, but everything looks like it lines up pretty nicely here because we, obviously we have the nice trend up right here. We have the retracement from this point up here. We have the rejection from down here. And then lastly, the buy signal. So this is actually a very solid entry. All the requirements are met. Trend up, retracement, rejection, buy signal. So this should have, I mean, if it was moving properly, it should have shot up. Kind of
yeah, I
similar
see.
to all of these other ones here. Because I don't know if you took these trades right here.
Yeah, yeah. I was gonna say the last three entries before this one all hit stop loss. Um, so the one before that I had was at um 10:40. Another one on the 30th of December. Well, 30th for me. It would have been about what 2 a.m. for you. 10:40, so maybe 2:40 a.m.
Oh, okay, I see this one right here. So yeah, it looks like this one right here would have hit stop loss. I think it's this middle one right here.
Yeah.
So I'll go back and I'll look at that one as well. Yeah, sometimes the market just has like these very big spikes down that are just it's just unpredictable. Like something like this right here. Okay, so you would have entered this trade right here. You're doing it on the 10-minute, right?
Yeah, yeah, I am.
Okay, 10 minutes. So let's see. If we're looking at this here, I'm going to pull up the K2SR. So it looks like if you had the K2SR open at that specific time, it looks like it was right at resistance. So I'm not sure if that's
Okay.
what maybe have caused it, possibly.
Yeah, tell the truth, I did not pull up the SR indicator at
Yeah,
all when taking these.
yeah. Normally I don't do it either, but sometimes I like to just make sure if it's not like too close. If there's a lot of space, if there's like a big gap in between, like
Yeah,
something like this right here. So you can see these other entries, there's no zones there, right? So if you took this one here, you have at least like 300 pips to, possibly scalp. Same situation right here. If you were to take this, you have at least about 300 pips. But for here, it's like right at the zone. So This makes it a bit risky because it
Hmm.
can either, reject right off it, or it can maybe even push up a little higher before rejecting from this point over here.
Okay, you
So,
see the one that you just showed me before that. I, I don't know. From what I remember of your video, you would say that if it breaks past one of the pivots, you'd kind of just wait for the setup again. So I guess that's why I didn't look into that one,
oh, gotcha.
because it
Okay.
broke past the pivots.
Yeah. So for this right here, I kind of changed it up a little. I made it a little more relaxed because I noticed that sometimes price will break past it.
Yeah,
So like for something right here, now when I'm looking at the rejection, so basically, first requirement is to identify the trend. Obviously, right here it's trending up, and then we
mm,
have the retracement from this point up here. And then for this rejection down here, either here or over here, I generally am okay with it if it doesn't push too far down. So like for example, right
okay,
here, it only pushes down, less than 100 pips.
yeah,
Something, for example, let me see if I can find one. Like this right, or this is kind of far, but so these right here would be okay for me because they're just, slightly below the last pivot.
yeah,
But
yeah,
when it goes very far, like something like this right here, if this goes like uh it passed the pivots and it went out like 500 pips, this is too far. At this point
yeah,
it might be possible reversal. If it's
okay,
under 500 pips, and I think it's okay. But if it's choppy like it is right here, it keeps bouncing around. Like right here, it crosses in the opposite direction, about 500 pips. Odds are it's probably going to reverse. Vice versa. If it comes below here again, down here, then I probably wouldn't look at these if it gets too far down. But if it's only like about 100, 200 pips, I think that's fine because generally, especially if you're looking during like December where the market's kind of like bouncing around a lot, you'll see
mm,
where it'll spike down a little bit and then it'll come right back up. And then like same
got you.
situation, he keeps trying to break it, but then it bounces right back up. The only difference is if it breaks it for a long period, like something like this right here, when it swings all the way down, then I wouldn't take that because it's too far from the
Yeah, yeah,
pivots. But yeah, going back to what we were just looking at over here, I think this would be fine because it's not too far off. If you see like a whole candle outside of the other side of the pivot, then that's when you might want to get worried. You might think, okay, maybe it's going to be swinging in the other direction. One other confirmation for that too is just looking at the pivots, because obviously right here, when it's trending down, the pivots are the red pivot's going to be on top. But
mm,
you can see over here as it pulled down on this point, the red pivot was on the bottom. So it's going to indicate that the trend is now shifting upwards. That's one thing to look at as well when you're looking at the
ah,
pivot.
I see.
Yeah,
Okay,
because you can see right here, the red pivot is going to be the leading pivot. So if you see the pivot cross over above all four, it starts to swing down. Vice versa over here, you see the red pivot starts to swing below all of them. Then you can see it starting to swing upwards. And then
mm,
you can see that it goes up like that. So I'm not
right,
sure if you noticed that generally the red pivot, that's one thing that I look at when I'm looking at reversal. So like right here, you can see the red pivot cross below all four pivots, and
mm,
then it starts to go up very strong. Same situation right
right.
here. The red crosses above the four pivots, it starts to go down strong as well.
Okay, yeah, looks like I possibly missed quite a few entries then.
Yeah, I
With
mean, it's all gonna come with practice. I know
yeah,
that you just been practicing. So like for me, I've been doing this like every day. So it's easy for me to identify these things. And there's a lot of little things that I don't mention in the video, but it's something
yeah,
that you kind of pick up as you go along with your practice. Because the more and more you practice it, the easier it is for you to spot these things. Like for me, I was able to spot this without even looking at anything. I was just telling if you maybe looked at this, that the trend was shifting, you might have had a better idea that, okay, this is probably going to be a safe trade at this point.
I see.
Uh,
Yeah. Um, so the last few that I had at the end of the month hit stop loss. I was just wondering if I was doing something wrong or uh, there were bad entries somehow. But some of the stuff you've mentioned already is starting to clear it up, especially checking the zones
yeah, exactly.
I
Like
had.
like the zones, yeah, the zones aren't necessary, but it's always safe to at least just turn them on really quick. Like, okay, I want to see what the zones are, just in case. Like you don't even have to draw the zone; you just have to see Like for example, this one right here, if I was to see this, I probably wouldn't have taken it because it's like literally at the zone. And then you
Yeah.
can see here for the next candle, it doesn't even break above it. It's I mean, it breaks above it, but then this is where it reverses from, exactly on that zone right there. Like it's crazy how accurate it was, right? It
Yeah.
goes straight to the zone, and then as soon as it reaches the zone, comes straight down.
Yes.
So it's I wouldn't say to put too much emphasis on it because the thing is, if you get too worried about the zones, you might miss a lot of trades. But if it's this close or this close, then maybe you should probably emphasize a little more.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
There was one more I wanted you to look at because I had a double loss actually. Was the 17th of December about 2:30 a.m. your time.
17.
So I took two entries here. Looks like two buys.
Okay, looks like you 2:30 a.m. Okay, I see what you did. So right here, took this one.
Yeah.
So yeah, this actually looks like this looks like a pretty solid entry. If I saw this, I would have taken it too. Because it's very clear here that we have
Yeah.
uptrend right here. We have the retracement from this point above here, retracement, rejection, and then buy signal. And on top of that, the signal closes above this previous one.
Yeah.
So this looks like it could have been a pretty decent one. Let me turn on the K2SR so we can confirm that. Oh, see, it's right on it.
I see. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's literally on the spot. And then there's another zone above here as well. So let's see
Right.
how this ended up running from there.
And when
So,
I set my stop loss and TP, I just usually use Trading View to do it. But if like the stop loss is, I'd probably extend the stop loss to the last pivot if it doesn't.
mhm,
Like in your case now, it did, but sometimes it doesn't, and I would just extend it to the
adjust it.
last pivot. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. It looks like right here, I think it rejects directly off that pivot, right? Yeah, it goes
Yeah.
directly off it. It breaks above it again. So yeah, if you took this entry, I'm not sure if this would have hit. Let's see.
That
Uh,
second one, that
uh,
second buy signal, I took as well,
oh, you
and
took
that's why it
both.
was. Yeah, that's why it was a double loss.
Oh no. Okay. Okay. So yeah, for this situation here, I mean, this looks like a good entry, but like we just went over right here, the
There's a zone.
it was like literally within the zone. So that probably would have been the factor in causing this to lose. Let me go to the next one and see. Yeah, same with this one. It was like right at the zone as well,
Mm.
right there. So it's I mean it's risky, but in some cases like if you do your back test and the win rate is still high even with you ignoring these zones, then sometimes it becomes a numbers game. It becomes a game of how many trades can you take, because if you keep taking more trades and then your win rate is very high, it'll balance out these losses.
Oh
So
yeah, definitely,
yeah.
definitely.
So in a lot of instances, for me, I would just take the trade, even if it's a losing trade. The main key is just to manage your risk properly, right? If
Yeah.
you're going to be taking a lot of trades, then just risk 1%. You're not going to make very much profit on each trade, but you're also not going to lose a lot of trades. So like it's just going to keep adding up as you go. If you're taking more careful trades, then obviously you can increase risk. So instead of doing 1%, if you're only if you're using the strategy plus using the zones where your probability would be a lot higher, you can use higher risk, maybe 3 or 5%. But
Right.
it just really depends on how you want to take, if you're able to take every trade or if you plan on being a little careful. It's just your risk is going to depend on you personally, how you want to, approach these positions.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, when I back tested the whole of December, I literally just any entry that I saw, I took it, and it came up to, like I said, about 27 trades for the whole month, and out of that, there was 15 wins. So even with those, there was 10 losses, but there was about 15 wins and one break even.
Yeah. If that's the case, then it's not really that bad at all. You know, you can,
Yeah,
if you were to take every single trade, you still be in profit. That the main key is to be in profit at the end of the week or at the end of the month. That's going to be main goal for you.
right.
Because you know, if you just run the numbers, if you keep doing that and you end up in profit every single month, it's just going to keep growing even though you take those losses. Obviously, you can be careful sometimes, but sometimes being careful is not the best thing because you're going to miss out on some trades if they don't fit, you know, those specific requirements that you're looking at.
I definitely think I could have cut 3 losses though if I didn't, take those trades towards the end of the month where the holidays were coming up. So
Oh yeah, definitely.
yeah, I could have cut those 3 um, if I didn't take those. So it would have been
Yeah,
even
yeah,
better win rate.
yeah, definitely. So that's the case too. Like for me, I usually don't trade on Sundays. I don't trade on Fridays. Uh,
Yeah.
and I definitely don't trade on during like, you know, the first couple days before the holidays, depending on which holiday too. So if it's a normal holiday, like during the year, that's fine. You can trade during that time, but Christmas is usually it's a very risky time to trade. Christmas and New Year's, and Thanksgiving, because during those times, that's when like nobody's trading, right? So it's when volatility is super low.
Mm.
And literally whoever's trading, if someone is able to put a big order, like so say that drop that we looked at towards the 30th, right? Sometimes banks they'll initiate the drop. So they'll sell off their positions so that people will try to continue it, right? So they start the momentum move, and then that's how people start to add more trades onto it. And then you know, if there's so many sells, it just keeps pushing price lower and lower and lower. And that's just how, you know, it's like playing a game of chess. Like you have to just determine if you see a drop, you're like, okay, why is this drop happening? Is the drop happening because the institutions push it down, or is it happening because people are selling off?
Mm.
Um, but yeah, you know, it's stuff that you just start to learn over time. You start to realize how the market moves, and then you'll know like when to trade and when not to trade.
Right, got you. Yeah, I'm glad. Like I said, I didn't take any of those trades on my account. I was just practicing, yeah, the pivot strategy, and yeah, that's the results I came up with.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I've
Yeah.
back tested US 30 like pretty far back with the pivot strategy. It's pretty high. I think I back tested every single trade. I think it's definitely above a 75% win rate for I
Wow.
think maybe how many years back? Maybe like 3 years. I didn't go that far back, but 3 years is still pretty decent because it counted COVID year, and then it also counted the year before that and the year prior to that as well. So I was able to pull data from like all 3 years, you know, COVID plus normal year plus another normal year before that. And it still was pretty accurate, like 70%, over 75% win rate for every single trade. So,
Mm.
um, you know, obviously you can make changes to avoid specific losses. But in some instances, if you just want to take every trade, you can do that too.
Right, got you. Yeah. Well, it looks like I've kind of got the strategy down now. And with those few additions that you've told me, I could probably make a bigger win rate.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You
I think
know,
like every few percent increase in win rate makes a huge difference, right? Because that's going to mean
yeah.
a lot more money depending on how much you're trading. So if you start to trade a bigger account, like you do FTMO or something like that, you know, you have a 100K account. You think about that. You only have one risk increase per trade. You're going to make like 100 to like $1,000 per trade, and you do like 27 of those, like you mentioned now.
Mm.
And then how much did you say? How many wins did you have again? You said.
I had about 15,
Okay, so you had 15 wins, and then how many losses?
10 losses, one
10
break
losses.
even.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. So if that was the case, you'd probably be up maybe like 5 to 6,000. You know, if you took every single trade, just did 1% risk, and
Yeah.
that's pretty nice just for
Yeah,
doing
definitely.
the strategy. And that's usually where it comes into play. Like once you have a bigger account and you're able to just, you know, lock in profits and eliminate losses, then it makes a huge difference. Obviously, if you're trading like $100 account, it's not going to be it's not going to look very big because you're making like $10 each trade, you know. But once
Mm.
you have like $1,000 account, $10,000 account, $100,000 account, you'll start locking in thousands per trade.
FTMO, that's my next story of my life.
Oh man, I'm
Uh,
excited for you, bro.
do you know what?
It's been a blessing.
Yeah, it's I'm almost there. I'm on my verification at the moment, but in some drawdown at the moment. But the good thing is, I mean, I've got a lot of time because I got that as added 10 days. So I think I've got until the 8th of March or something.
Oh, you've got a lot of time. Yeah, a
Yeah,
lot.
yeah, yeah. To try and make about what, get back to 100K, I need about 7K, and then plus the 5K to get verified. So about 12K at the moment. So what I did, right? I started because of the few losses that we took, because I've been trading obviously UK 100 and the US 30s, and in the beginning I took quite a few big hits because I did take well, not over leverage size, but big lot size,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, they brought me down in drawdown, and so what I've done now is I've sat down and I've had to like figure out my lot sizes and how many days I've got and how much I can potentially lose every day.
Mm-hmm.
So so what it looks like I'm gonna have to do, like, I mean, in 25 days trading days, I can I, I I can pass it by making just over $500 a month, a day, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just wondering, does that sound about right? Like I'm gonna have to drop my lot size, take 2 trades a day.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, 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 definitely. Yeah, it's definitely possible. I think $500 a day is not that bad.
right.
Um, Especially I mean, if you're only taking the US 30, you can even just go to TP and you can still lock in. I think. Well, what's your account size?
I got the 100K, and at the
Okay, yeah.
moment,
So if you're
yeah,
doing,
because
yeah,
at the
if
moment
you're doing
it's I'm at like 93K,
23K, okay. Yeah,
so I'm about seven.
maybe decrease your lot size a little bit until you get to maybe like 95 or maybe even 97
Yeah,
around there. And then you can go back to normal lot size because at that point you have just one more trade and then you bounce back to break even. And then from there it'll be, profit. So I think, yeah, maybe decrease your lot size for a bit, just build it up from there, just so you have,
hmm
that cushion. You're just careful. And then once you get to that point where you're, close to break even, you can go back to your normal lot size and then build it back up from there. Um, I know UK 100 has been going through like a rough patch, the past couple of weeks. Thankfully, US 30 has been decent. It's been pretty good for the past 2 weeks, except for yesterday. And then today,
yeah,
because of the news, but I think you should be fine. If you have it up until March, just take it slow because you can, maybe January is just a shitty month. It happens
right,
sometimes
yeah,
where
yeah, yeah.
you just have a slow month or the trades are just not good for that 1 week. One thing that I notice is that when we do trade, there's usually 1 week out of the month that's usually not that good. It's usually like less productive than the other ones. But then the following the following week is usually pretty good. I
Think
was
that's this
looking at
week,
it's this
but
week. Yeah, we just
yeah,
we got to get the week out of the way. That's what it really is.
oh
Uh,
man,
yeah, because we had a good week for NFP. So first week of January
yeah,
was great. This week is kind of rocky. It's there's a lot of news stuff like that. So I think next week we probably will bounce back from there. Because I've noticed from our US 30, we'll have 1 week that's like straight wins. We'll have another week that's like maybe like 3 or 4 losses. And then the
mm.
week after that, it's like good again. And then the last week is good as well.
Damn. So I took time off work on that wrong week.
Yeah. And it's kind of hard to tell because you don't really know until like the middle of the week, right? It's already Wednesday. So you're like, damn, like shit, I took these losses. And I
Yeah,
wish I knew this before I took those losses. But now you know. So like now you're like, okay, maybe this week I should just be a little more careful. Or maybe just sit out the rest of the week, just watch or demo trade for the rest of the week. And then next week you could hop back onto it and then, possibly recover from there.
yeah. I was thinking, should I do that? But then I thought to myself, if I do that, then I'm kind of uh, breaking my plan in a way that you should be taking every trades, winning or losing.
Yeah,
And, I could miss out on trades that were winning that could put me ahead for the month, if you know what I mean.
exactly. Yeah. So
So,
yeah.
so rather just lower the lot size and then, and just take it as it comes,
Mhm.
whether it's win or loss.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. That's what I would do. So like, for me, I trade every day. It doesn't matter if it's a bad day, good day, slow
Yeah.
day, I still trade. So like for me, I'm in the same position where I'm like, man, I should trade because what if I have a really good day and I decide not to trade this day and that could have put me ahead for the week as well, the week, the month, etc. So I would do what you were saying. I would definitely would just lower your lot size, still trade as how you normally are. Because here's the problem with a lot of people that they don't realize is if you take a few days off trading, you really go off track. Like when you come back trading after two or 3 days off, you're not in that mindset anymore. You know, you're not on point with your trades. You kind of get lazy. You're not really on point with everything. So I don't know if you've ever had that issue, but I've had that issue before, where I take a day or two off from trading, or I don't trade as much, and then I come back the third day and my confidence isn't there anymore. You know, I'm scared to take a trade. I don't feel like, oh, I can just take it. I'm fine. Like I think about it too much.
To be honest, like before joining you guys, I mean, I've been with you guys for a while, you know, but I've just been a signal taker from January last year.
Yeah.
I was just a signal taker, and things were good, but I know I was messing up a lot. You know, I was new to trading. I'd studied it and stuff, but I'd never live trade until last year, until I joined you guys. So when I started doing it, obviously my psychology was all over the place. I was greedy, cocky sometimes, and it wasn't till about I think I got your indicators in September, and I started taking it really seriously, and it helped big time. Just getting the indicators. Like, if I would suggest to anyone, if you're a signal taker, like, it can only take you so far. But when I actually got the indicators, started learning what we're doing, why we're taking these trades, I was able to manage them a lot better. And since then, you know, obviously the psychology's gotten a lot better. So I've been able to, like, be consistent, be quite profitable since September. And now I'm just looking to get the FTMO and elevate from there. Hopefully go part-time from work too.
Nice. Yeah. That's kind of what I did too. Like last year, that's when I started to take trading a little more seriously. I was literally just trading at work all day. I wasn't really doing work. So I would be at work from like 7 a.m. until like 10 p.m. at night, because during the day I'll be trading and I'll just stay at work so I can finish my actual work throughout the day. And it got to a point to like this year, actually, this year, January, I started being very, very profitable. I think that's when I started trading US 30. And I just, I figured I might as well just quit my job, because at this point, I have more fun trading. I'm not stressed out, and I'm actually making more money. So I was like, okay, I'm going to quit my job. So yeah, I've been doing this full time since March, and it's been great.
No, definitely. I mean, I enjoyed this. I enjoy it a lot. I mean, I can stare at these charts all day. I mean, I know not everyone's like that, but I can stare at them all day. And that's why I do like the interday trading on the Forex as well. The SRs are great. It's just that they take too long.
Oh yeah, if you're trading on the 4 hour, yeah. For me, I used to be the same way. I think when you first joined, I was still trading on the 30-minute. Yeah. So
I remember you didn't have the trend meter back then either. You had the 4 different.
The Ichimoku, the clouds, right?
Yeah.
That was a lot of work.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. So like, yeah, you've seen the evolution of the strategy. You've seen that we've gone from like, very, very complicated to very simple now. And it makes it better, because like someone like you who hasn't really trade as much, you're able to pick this up. Like, I'm surprised you even back test to yourself, because a lot of people are lazy. They don't want to go and back test. So they don't understand the strategy. But for you, you actually went back and back tested it. And it's good that you're connecting with me now, so that I was able to to show you that, if you open the SR, you can probably see where the rejection points are, just to be safe. Like, it's not necessary, but now you understand, another way to fix that solution, like a solution to your problem, basically.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, like I said, and I enjoy doing this. So me going back testing it, seeing if I'm implementing the strategy right, and having the confidence to take the trades after doing this back testing, it won't be a problem for me.
Yeah, definitely. And it's good, because every time you run into these problems, you're going to start to see patterns. You're going to be like, okay, this is why this happened. So like in the future, you'll know exactly, if it's December 30th of 2021, like when you see the same trade, like, okay, I'm not going to take this trade, because last year the same thing happened. So it's probably going to happen again.
Got you. Yeah, definitely. One thing I did want to ask about the intraday trading actually is when's I mean, I know when you take a trade, you like to, for extra confirmation, you like to compare like the pairs with the rest of the other pairs to see where they're going. So I think it was last month as well. I didn't take any of these trades. I was just, when I had time, I would sit at the computer all day, and then I would intraday trade. and I think there was there was a couple of days where the Japanese yen looked really weak on all the pairs, on the majority of pairs, and I took quite a few of them, and I think only hit two hit target. The rest all went to stop loss. Let me see if I can bring it up here, and I'll try and show you which ones I'm talking about. Yeah, so one of the ones that I hit was NJ. NJ.
Okay.
Yeah, I took this. She wasn't that long ago, actually. This was on the 6th of Jan.
6th of January. Which time frame are you trading on?
The 30.
30. Okay, go back to the 30. Got it. Okay, so you took this buy right here, or the sell line?
I took a buy. It was.
So I think it was this right here, right?
11 o'clock. So what's that?
You said 11 o'clock your time, right?
Yeah, PM.
Okay, PM. So that might have been. Do you know what time is that for me? 11 o'clock. That'd be either this. What is this? 30.
I think it might be 12 a.m. 12.
Oh, 12 a.m. my time. Let's see.
Sorry, no.
We got time zone paper.
3. It might have been 3 actually. So yeah, it was 11 p.m. my time, which technically I probably wouldn't have traded around that time, because like I said, I would only stick to like the London and the New York session.
Yeah, definitely. Where are you located? London? Or you?
Yeah, London.
You said 11 p.m. right?
Yeah.
So 11 p.m. Yeah, that's 3 p.m. my time. So 3 p.m. my time, that is when the market just reopened. So that's right after the swap spread. Swap spreads from 2 to 3. So I think it was around here, 15. Yeah. So you took this one right here. Let me replay that. Yeah, so you took this trade right here. It looks like you use a pivot entry, right?
No, just the intraday. So just the trend meter and momentum.
Oh yeah, it matched right here. Okay, perfect. So you took that trade right there. Long position. Let me see if there's any zones that are nearby. So it looks like it was right at a zone. Do you see this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The funny thing is this one actually went to TP, but it did go on for ages. And it was.
Oh, did it?
Now you're showing me the zone actually.
Oh, because you see how it's rejecting off it?
It bounced it on it a lot, yeah.
Oh, that makes sense, yeah.
Okay, so you're saying on intraday it is best to probably check the SRs again as well.
Yeah, on the higher time frames, it's way more important to check the zones, because it actually respects the zones on the higher time frame. If you're on the 10-minute, it's not as important, because obviously the market moves different on the scalping sessions, like on the lower time frame, because there's so much noise on the 10-minute. But if you're using the 30-minute here, I mean, like you notice here how it lined up perfectly. Like when you take that entry right there, it was exactly on the zone. And then there's another zone right here. So if you had these two zones right here lined up, you could identify that this is it was in a range. So right here it looks like it hasn't even broken out of the range. So for me, if I was to take this trade, I would wait for it to at least break above it, so that we can be outside of the range. But looking at it here, it looks like it ranged down this perfectly, like literally just down this whole side. I know obviously if you didn't have the zones there, you wouldn't be able to see that, right? But if you had the zones there, you can see, oh, it's in a range. So at this point, when it broke so I probably would have skipped this one over here, the one that you took. I'd wait for it to break on this one right here, and then I would take it. So at
That's
that
funny
point,
you say that actually, because I did take that as well.
oh,
And
you
so
took
I
it out.
got, yeah, I got both of them to hit, but
Just took a long time,
obviously
right?
that first one, yeah, took a long time, and it came a couple of pips within stop loss.
Oh yeah, very nice, very nice, solid, solid. So yeah, if you're trading on the 30-minute, I think the zones are very important because you can see right here that it just went from, very long range. And then, I mean, it still worked out for you both ways.
Yeah,
If this was the case for you to enter this trade, I would just put your stop loss below. Instead of this swing, I would probably put it below the zone right here.
I see.
So that way, you know that it's within a zone, right? So if it does break below here, like it crosses below the zone, then you're like, okay, it's probably going to reverse. But since it's respecting the zone, like you could have entered this trade right here, you could have entered this trade right here, all with the same stop loss if you wanted multiple positions, because they all qualify, with the trend meter down here.
Yeah,
So if you really wanted to take all of these trades here, you technically could have taken all of these trades here. And then again, right here, this one as well. And you could have had maybe 30 times 4. So you'd have like maybe 120 pips if you took
right.
every single trade. And then again,
So,
here as well if you wanted.
so you're saying, I mean, even though the zone was pretty close, maybe just extend the stop loss down and still take it, or
Yeah, yes. So that's exactly what I would do. I would
right?
do that specifically because generally, like when a zone is like this right here, it's different when it's just the normal zone, like just a random zone. But for
Mm,
this right here, this would make more sense for you to use this as a stop loss area because you can see that it's actually ranging.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
so obviously if price goes below here, it's probably going to continue down further. So same thing right here. If price breaks above here, like it did, it's probably going to continue up further as well. So,
okay,
uh, I mean, there's a lot of different ways to use it. Like for me, I give you guys like the foundation of the strategy, but obviously, when I analyze things, I look at different things as well. It's not just look at the trend meter, just look at the momentum indicator. For me, I
mm,
also incorporate the zones because even like last year, like the zones, I just created the zones, I think last year, like middle of
mm,
the year. So maybe I think April, I created the zones because I was doing the same thing you did. So I was using the pivot strategy and I was wondering like, how come I keep losing? Or, I'm taking these intraday trades and I'm like wondering, well, like, why do I keep losing these trades? And then I started to figure out that, there's going to be rejection points. So that's why I created the zone. So that's pretty much why I created them. And they're just used as an addition. I
yeah,
think you noticed that I started trading the 4 hour, like probably middle of the year. That's when I created
yeah,
the zones. And then that's when I started to realize how important the zones were. Because even
yeah,
myself, I'm still learning all the time. And I didn't realize that the zones were that important. But now that I do know, I always incorporate them in my trades.
yeah. They're seriously accurate as well.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And it's crazy because I was like wondering how people drew zones. Because for the longest time, I always see people draw these zones on the chart. And I'm like, how do they draw these zones? Like, I never understood like why the zones were there. So what I
Mm,
did was I had my coder I was asking, can you because I started to like read up on like algorithmic trading, like banks use algorithms where they
yeah,
trade at specific price points. So the way that I created this indicator is that I had my coder pull all of the data from the chart. Like I give him the data for like whatever data point we want. And then he was able to identify points where price touches exactly. So all of these zones here that were
yeah,
created price has touched this exact price point, like right here, 75.236. This
mm,
same price was tested, like it went to that same exact price at least 2 or 3 times in the past.
right.
So in order for that zone to be created, it's like banks probably set like their algorithms to, price reaches this point, sell. So we know exactly where the banks are trading, stuff like that.
It's like you just counter algorithm of their
Exactly.
algorithm. Yeah.
Yeah, we counter it
Some,
because we try to get out of the trade before the algorithm takes the trade, so we don't get caught
yeah.
in any reversals.
It's good, man. It's smart.
Yeah, yeah. It took
Yeah.
me a long time to realize that, but then once I realized it, I was like, wow, this is like really good stuff.
Definitely
Like,
game changer.
yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah. Let me pull up one of the ones that I lost. Because like I said, I think it was around that time the JP pairs. looked quite weak, and quite a few of them hit my stop loss actually. So on the EJ, I took another one here on EJ. What's this now? I'll same on a 30-minute. So it's like 6 a.m. your time.
6 a.m. on which date?
7th of Jan.
7. Okay. You said 6 a.m., right?
Yeah.
Okay, 6 a.m. right here. Let me turn on the trend meter. Okay, perfect. So you took this trade right over here, 6 a.m. Looks like you would place your entry right there, stop loss down here for about, I guess, 36 pips. Right. So if you were to take this trade, obviously we would look at the zones to make sure there's, any zones around the area. It looks like it's right at a zone 2 right there. So, like for you, you could probably take this trade. I think for me, if I was to take this, I would wait for it first. Like I would let it fill. I would let it run for like maybe another candle just to see if it ends up reversing. So that's one thing that I do too sometimes. So if I take a trade, like say you have one right here already set up, what I like to do is I like to wait maybe one more candle to see if it actually rejects off it. So like I'll wait one candle, see if it goes above it. If it goes above it, I'll take the trade. If it comes back below, then I'll put a buy stop right there so that when it does come back up, I can catch the move up. So
okay.
for example, here,
that's a close above the zone, yeah. You then you would take it, or just wick up the zone like it has done now. Actually, it's just
yeah. So like for this right here, I would probably just so I'd wait for this candle first. So like obviously we see the entry right here. So first we see the entry. I let it cross above it. So it crossed above it like that. Then I would place my buy stop right there, like on this at the close of this candle. I put a buy stop order here so that if it does come back up, it will trigger my order.
okay.
Okay, so like right here on this last candle, it triggered my order. So now I'm inside the trade. At that point, I'm inside the trade, and then I let it run. Now let's see if it actually hits. So it looks like this would have hit stop loss. I think it would maybe depend if do you usually use the exit strategy for all your positions?
For these intraday trades on a 30-minute, I was just TP or stop loss, because I mean, when I set the TP or stop loss, I mean sometimes it's only like what 15 pips, 20
It's not
pips
that
sometimes.
much.
Yeah.
It's a lot smaller.
So I just think to myself, either take the loss or the win.
Exactly.
I mean, like I said, these will all test really. I haven't taken none of these. I'm just building my confidence on the strategy, and then once I'm happy, I'll probably start trading them, and when I've got more time.
Yeah. So for this right here, this is kind of a risky trade because for one, it's at a resistance, right? So I would just consider it risky if that's the case where it's like right at resistance. But if I feel very comfortable with it, like so if you look at the confluence and you look at every other JPY pair, if they're all bullish, then yeah, maybe I would just take it. I'm not sure if you look at the confluence during that time. It's kind of hard to see when it's not a live trade because you have to go to each pair.
Yeah.
Let me see if I could actually pull it up. I don't think it'll.
I think some of them were, but not all of them. Yeah. I think I did have a look.
Yeah, because that's something that's new too. I usually didn't do that before, but I started to realize that if they're all lined up together and they're all going the same direction, odds are it's probably going to continue in that direction. So for me now, if I was to take this trade, if I saw this right here, I would like to possibly look at the other JPY pairs to make sure or to confirm whether they're bullish or not. So if they're all bullish, then maybe I would take it. If they're not, then I possibly wouldn't. But let's see if there's another zone above it. So it looks like there might have been a new zone that was created above this specific area. Yeah, so it looks like there's a zone right there. I think if it got to this, like if I started to see this zone right here, just from my own experience, I probably would have maybe moved my stop loss to break even, or I would have moved it in profit, or possibly even closed my position manually with profit. Because once I see that right there, it kind of indicates to me that it's probably going to maybe come down.
Reverse. Yeah.
Yeah, because you can see there. So right here, we have the zone that was already there, right? So I put the zone there. The zone has already been established. So as the zone has been established, when price comes back up, this could be like, just from my own experience, this isn't something that I really teach because I don't trade patterns or anything like that. But just from like my own perspective over here, I see, one rejection from that point, and then I see maybe a second rejection over here, something like that. See, there's like a rejection. So it's like a double top. So you get two double tops right there. And this will probably hint to me that price is probably going to come down from that point. So, and this is just like with actively managing your trade. Sometimes you want to actively manage it, but for me, I like to at least, keep track of my trades. And then if I see this right here, I maybe would just exit in profit because you're already in profit. So I either move stop loss to break even or just exit in profit because I don't want to get caught in something like this where it comes down.
Yeah.
But this is something that, it obviously comes with practice. You're not going to learn how to identify these things just by, me teaching you. A lot of this stuff is learned through like trial and error. It's more so through practice, and then you make mistakes and you're like, oh, why did I make this? Why did this lose? And then you go back and you're like, oh, it's a double top right there. So maybe I should have, just been smart about this and move my stop loss in profit or just exit to avoid, getting caught in something like this.
No, definitely. I mean, that's kind of why I wanted to jump on here as well. See where I went wrong, see if I've been doing anything wrong, or see where I can improve.
Yeah,
So,
definitely. I think you're definitely on the right path. Like you definitely have the foundation. So the most important thing is the foundation. On top of the foundation, that's when you go back and you back test and you're like, okay, I could have looked at the zones. If you added the zones, you probably have better probability. And then on top of the zones, you're like, okay, maybe I could have seen this double top here as well. And then maybe I could have just exited my trade instead of holding on to it. Yeah.
Got you. I think all the others are probably the same problem.
Yeah, I feel like the zones make a huge difference with your backtest review.
Right. Okay. That's good. One other thing on the interday, actually, how far before, like, if there's a news event coming up, would you decide is it worth taking a trade or not, or is there enough time to take this trade, depending on when the news is going to come up?
So if you're trading on the 30-minute chart, I usually don't like to trade 2 hours before. 2 hours before and then maybe 1 hour after. Because sometimes you'll see a news event like something like this right here, or maybe this is what caused the drop, right? So there's a news event right here.
Yeah.
And then as soon as this news event happened, it came up here and dropped super heavily. And then right here again, another news event, it ended up pushing price right back up. So like for me, I usually don't like to trade 2 hours before or 1 hour after, because sometimes you'll see that market will have a late reaction. So like right here, we had a news event, nothing happened, sideways. And then maybe like 2 hours later, it just ended up dropping down.
I see.
So usually I don't like trading 2 hours before, maybe 2 hours after, but it depends on what time frame you're trading on. So if you're trading on the 4-hour time frame, it's not going to make a big difference because there's so much space in between your trade. But if you're trading on the 30-minute, it becomes a little more risky because your stop loss isn't as wide.
Right, got you.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I think that's everything,
Perfect.
Cleared up quite a lot, actually, and I'm going to get back into it.
Yeah, definitely. No, keep practicing. Yeah, keep practicing. And then, if you ever run into any more issues, just write down, the trades that you took like we did today, or write down any questions. And then next time we have the next session, we can clean it up even more. Every time we get with the session, you're going to learn more and you're going to figure out new ways to better your strategy and stuff like that.
100%. I mean, your webinars that you do, they're helping big time. I mean, like I don't always jump on live all the time, but I do rewatch them. So, and even the mentorships. There's some questions I didn't really think of asking, and someone else has asked, and they've helped me out. I realized, oh yeah, that could help me out, you know, and I didn't know that, for instance. So yeah, it's good. It's good. Looking
Yeah,
forward to this year.
yeah, definitely. No, me too. I'm excited because now that we have like the whole back test team working on like new strategies, it's kind of
Oh
like what we're
yeah,
doing here. Like, you know, you're back testing your own. So we have other people too that are back testing as well, and they're you know, getting better and better at the specific strategies. So from there we can work together and figure out even more ways to avoid losses. I think that's the real key, especially with FTMO. As long as you are able to, you know, minimize your losses, you can have a lot of profit like at the end of every month.
yeah. No, I know. I talked to Spencer actually, and they're doing a wicked job. They're doing a really good job.
Yeah, they're back testing around the clock. They're literally nonstop. So it's good because
Yeah,
before I was doing that all by myself. Now
yeah,
you know we have a dedicated team to actually work on that. So it's perfect. Works for all of us.
100%. Listen, thanks very much, Shawn. I appreciate you taking out the time for me.
Definitely no problem. We'll do this again soon.
Yeah, 100%.
Perfect. All right, Sam. So I'll talk to you later.
Yeah, you too. Have a good one.